Hello guys, welcome back. Now today, we're going to talk about Mitch Marner and if the Toronto Maple Leafs should just let him leave. Contract negotiations between Mitch Marner and the Toronto Maple Leafs have pretty much come to a standstill. So where will the contract negotiations go from here? And should the Toronto Maple Leafs just flat out let Mitch Marner leave? Watch till the end to find out. Now the draft is completed. Free agency is pretty much right around the corner. But a potential Mitch Marner deal, a deal that a lot of people, including me, has speculated for a long time, looks about as unlikely as it ever has before. Now as an RFA, it seems even more likely that Mitch Marner will be exploring his options and exploring potential offer sheets. We saw confirmation that he'd be meeting with a couple NHL teams surrounding the offer sheet speculation, and in the midst of that, we saw that Mitch Marner will be going that way. And when it came to the Toronto Maple Leafs, when it came to the contract negotiations and potential contract, it's pretty much looking as bleak as it ever has before, as both sides pretty much can't agree on anything right now. Now, Darren Dreger reports that there are at least 3 different NHL teams that will be exploring and interviewing Mitch Marner on a potential offer sheet, and that's pretty huge. When it comes to the whole offer sheet interest, now we know that 3 teams are at least looking into it. Whether they, of course, actually go with it and actually sign or at least offer an offer sheet is the big question, but we do know there is interest in Mitch Marner, not just trade-wise, but offer sheet-wise. A lot of teams are interested in Mitch Marner because he's a very good player. He has a 22 years of age. He has 82 games played this season with Toronto, 26 goals, 68 assists for 94 points. Yes, he was playing with John Tavares, but he's still excellent star player in this league that a lot of teams, quite frankly, should be interested in. Now, Mitch Marner has pretty much played cat and mouse with the Toronto Maple Leafs in this contract negotiations. It's been rumored that he wants 5 years on his deal, which the Toronto Maple Leafs do not want to have. He wants 5 years, and that's the year when both William Nylander and Austin Matthews come off their big contract, and I don't think Toronto wants to have all 3 of them come off the books at the same time. That seems like an absolute disaster, and Toronto is definitely right in not accepting that. When it comes to both the years and the money on the contract, there seems to be a big gap between both Kyle Dubas and Mitch Marner, and when it comes to the whole contract negotiations, it seems like a big problem point there. When it comes to Mitch Marner, he obviously wants as much money as he gets. He's an RFA, he's a young player, he should want the most money possible, but he's asking for astronomical prices that simply the Toronto Maple Leafs, even though they have traded guys like Patrick Marleau, still cannot afford. But Elliotte Friedman had a huge report a few days back saying that the Toronto Maple Leafs would accept an offer of Mitch Marner at $11 million if the deal was long-term, probably meaning 7 or 8 years. But it's obvious right now that Mitch Marner does not want that type of contract. He wants a 5-year deal. That's what he wants right now. And obviously the Toronto Maple Leafs are still smart in not accepting that. Having guys like Austin Matthews, William Nylander going off the books then, that would be an absolute disaster if they signed that Mitch Marner deal. So it's good that they aren't signing that. But obviously with Mitch Marner, he's going to sign that long-term deal, even if it is as high as $11 million, which for some reason Toronto is offering right now. The way the negotiations were certainly heading, I think Mitch Marner is very lucky to get $11 million, whether it's 1 year, whether it's 8 years, he should be accepting that every single time. And when it comes to 8 years ahead, I mean, yes, if he signed a 5-year deal, he probably does get more than $11 million at the end of that. But even then, I think to get $11 million from the Toronto Maple Leafs of all teams is an absolute blessing, especially when it comes to how their cap is shaping up right now. If they don't get rid of a guy like Zaitsev, a guy like Kadri, I don't think they're going to have the cap to even sign that type of deal. So getting that offer, I think, was just miraculous for Mitch Marner, but still they didn't end up accepting it because it was 8 or 7 years, which is just blasphemous in my opinion. The guy should take that type of deal, especially since it was heading. We thought maybe the Toronto Maple Leafs were offering like 9.5, maybe $10 million at most, but $11 million is something crazy that I certainly did not expect. When it comes to Kyle Dubas and the Toronto Maple Leafs, to even offer $11 million, I think is pretty terrible. You already got a guy like Austin Matthews at that type of contract, already got John Tavares at that big contract as well. The Toronto Maple Leafs are simply not in a position to keep offering Mitch Marner that type of money, the money that he wants right now, at the term that he wants. When it comes to Mitch Marner, again, to really cave into his contract would just be a disaster for the Toronto Maple Leafs. He literally wants the worst contract imaginable for them, 5 years, which would put him at Austin Matthews and William Nylander territory, and $11 million, which would put him ahead of John Tavares for some reason. This is where we get into the territory of what he's actually worth. And when it comes to what he's actually worth, I think he has worth at the most $9.5 million. Nikita Kucherov just signed his contract extension pretty much a few months back at $9.5. He is the best winger in the league right now. He proved that this past season, setting so many records, having the best record and the best points total since the mid-90s. That is what you pay a winger like that. You don't pay Mitch Marner, a guy in RFA at 22 years of age, $11 million. It should never happen, it shouldn't happen, and I'm glad the Toronto Maple Leafs haven't actually accepted that type of offer, at least not yet. And by all means, I like Mitch Marner quite a bit. I think he should get paid. But to have him over Nikita Kucherov, all these other amazing wingers in the NHL, I think is just pretty stupid. I mean, yes, already, if you're a millionaire, it doesn't really matter too much. You already have exceedingly amazing wealth. When it comes to Toronto, you could sign autographs for days and get pretty much half of that contract right off your books already. I just think when it comes to Mitch Marner, signing for $11 million, signing for 10.5 even, would be a huge mistake for him. If he signs for a couple million less, again, Toronto's in a much better position to win a cup and to do a lot better than if he's 11 or at least Austin Matthews type money. The Toronto Maple Leafs might not be in a position to give Mitch Marner the type of money that he wants. There are probably a couple of teams out there that are interested in giving him what he wants and even more. Now, Darren Dreger ended up reporting that an NHL executive told him that we could see an offer sheet upwards of $13 or $14 million for 5 years this offseason. Now, he didn't really clarify if it was Mitch Marner or not, but it's leaning that way. I don't think a team's going to give $13 or $14 million to Patrick Laine or Matthew Tkachuk. While those are good players, obviously, I think Mitch Marner is on a little bit of a different level, especially cap-wise and cash-wise, as I think a lot of teams would give up a buttload to get a guy like that. Just because an NHL executive said that it could happen doesn't mean it actually will, but it does mean that there are some interest out there to give him the 4 first-round picks and the money that Mitch Marner wants, which I think is just insane. If you have a team, let's say like the Carolina Hurricanes, who gives 4 first-round picks and pays Mitch Marner a term of $13 or $14 million, that is a huge mistake for the team getting Mitch Marner, and one that will definitely bite them in the butt. I like Mitch Marner quite a bit, but he is not worth $11, $12, $13 million on top of the 4 first-round picks you're already giving up. You'll start to see a little bit of a trend in the last couple of months that a lot of Darren Dreger's reports on Mitch Marner have been very consistent and very steady, and that's not for no reason. Meet Mitch Marner's agent, Darren Ferris, a guy who is very interesting when it comes to his free agents. He usually hands them pretty interestingly. Now, most notably a guy like Andreas Athanasiou, who is also Darren Ferris's client, he kind of likes to put the overseas kind of threat on teams. He kind of made a looming threat that Andreas Athanasiou back a couple of years ago, maybe go to the KHL. That never really ended up happening. When it came to Athanasiou, that was always a negotiating point. That's not really an option with Mitch Marner. He's not going to the KHL or anything. I don't think we'll see that anytime soon. So Darren Ferris is kind of taking a little bit of a weirder turn. With a guy like Mitch Marner, he's floated out the offer sheet kind of thing. And when it comes to Darren Dreger, it seems like Darren Ferris is definitely pointing him in the direction. When it comes to Darren Dreger, of course, this is still valuable news to get, the 13-14 kind of thing. The stuff that he's been pouring out is still good information, but it's all likely coming from Darren Ferris, and Darren Ferris is likely telling Darren Dreger what to say right now. We gotta keep that in mind when Darren Dreger is floating out reports of a $13 or $14 million contract being out there, when that might not be exactly the truth. I think maybe an NHL executive told him, but maybe Darren Ferris told him that there was a $13 or $14 million contract gonna be floated out in free agency. When it comes to Darren Ferris, he's likely using Darren Dreger as really his mouthpiece in the media, and it's kind of working right now. When it comes to Mitch Marner, I don't think a lot of people would have had him as an $11 million guy, but he's been pointing towards that direction. Darren Dreger has been pointing towards that direction as making Toronto go in that type of range. I wouldn't say it's working, but it's definitely working. When it comes to Darren Ferris and his client Mitch Marner, the only real leverage they have is that potential offer sheet. That's the only thing they have really as an RFA to say, hey, we deserve that kind of money, or else we're going to go on an offer sheet somewhere, like anybody's really going to accept one, or at least offer one, really. Now, the thing when it comes to Toronto is that they have to keep that in mind, that the offer sheet and the potential looming of an offer sheet is really all they have to leverage. When it comes to Kyle Dubas, when it comes to Toronto, they should be the team to not budge on a potential contract negotiations. They've already got so many guys, Austin Matthews, John Ayers. Yes, having Mitch Marner would be nice, but they don't really need him. And that's something they should keep in mind, because when it comes to Mitch Marner, giving him 11, giving him 10.5, I'm going to say it right now, giving him $10 million straight is a mistake. In my opinion, I don't think Mitch Marner is worth $10 million, but if a team is going to be out there accepting a $13 or $14 million offer sheet, then by all means, just go ahead. If a team like Arizona wants to do that and just bankrupt whatever they had going, then by all means, they can definitely do that. But I don't think the Toronto Maple Leafs should be in a position to give that type of money out. Again, I don't think they need a guy like Mitch Marner. You got Tavares, you got Matthews, you got so many fantastic players, and standing put, making sure that you stand your ground is the biggest thing for them right now, because giving him an overpayment is the last thing you want to do. When it comes to Mitch Marner and whatever he's doing in these kind of negotiations, I just gotta ask, what is his long-term goal here, because if he signs for $9.5 million, he'll literally get free money on the streets. I guarantee it. But if he gets $11 million, yes, he still will be loved, but he'll kind of be the $11 million Mitch, not our $925,000 Mitch. And that'll affect things when it comes to Toronto and how they perceive Mitch Marner, especially in these contract negotiations. If they go far, if they go to the William Nylander status of going to December, then I don't think Toronto will really forgive him for that. They haven't forgiven William Nylander for doing that, really, and we'll see how pretty much damaged that reputation is in Toronto. If Mitch Marner goes that type of routes and even signs an offer sheet, man, he'll be public enemy number one and a snake just like John Tavares was in New York. But if Mitch Marner really wants to have interest in an offer sheet and negotiate with teams and actually accept an offer sheet, then by all means, the Toronto Maple Leafs should actually let him go. And I am serious. Mitch Marner, yes, is nice, but I think Toronto will definitely take those 4 first-round picks. Now, I like Mitch Marner, but if he wants to go to a team like Arizona or Ottawa, no offense, you probably aren't going to make the playoffs too many times out of that 5-year contract. It's just not going to happen too much. Yes, Marner will be probably the best player on that team for sure, but when it comes to Mitch Marner to sign that type of contract, I just don't think it's a good idea. I think when it comes to Mitch Marner, obviously he's using the potential contract as leverage to get more money from Toronto, but even then he's got to be a little bit careful to still stay on track and not go down the offer sheet road at least too much, at least not until it's too late. But Mitch Marner and their camp have been so serious on offer sheets, again meeting with at least 3 different NHL teams, that they might be going down the path of a potential offer sheet that they might not be able to pull back from, especially when it comes to the reputation of a player. When you go down all this road of going through an offer sheet, of having this negotiations, it really does tamper a player's reputation. Again, it did kind of do the same with William Nylander there, and with Mitch Marner, he's got to be careful and not go down that road too much. Yes, that offer sheet road does give him the most leverage, but again, it's a fine line to balance, and for Mitch Marner, I'm not sure if he's really balancing at least the best right now, because with Toronto, again, they got to sign that contract soonish. I don't think they want to get that contract still looming around training camp. They want to get it done, and I think Mitch Marner wants to get it done too. I like Mitch Marner quite a bit. I like to see him as a Toronto Maple Leaf. I like to see him in the Maple Leafs uniform. But if he doesn't want to sign here long term, if he doesn't want to get a contract done before training camp, honestly, all in all, I think the Toronto Maple Leafs should let him leave. But of course, with this video, I need to hear your guys' thoughts down in the comments down below. So let me know what you think about this whole Mitch Marner situation between Mitch Marner and the Toronto Maple Leafs and the new information that we got. And the question on to you: do you think the Toronto Maple Leafs should keep him, or do you think they should let him leave? But if you guys want some more Grav videos just like this one, you can click on this card right here to watch my discussion on the new Erik Karlsson contract and my thoughts on it. But that'll be it for today, guys. If you guys enjoy, make sure you hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, and hit that notification bell if you haven't already. Again, comment down below your thoughts on Mitch Marner, if the Toronto Maple Leafs should let him leave. And I'll see you guys in the next video or stream. Goodbye.